Your record here is Felu. Lorenzano asked some questions. I'm going to ask her to remind me about maybe 10 minutes before the end of class so we can go over the final exam, what to expect. 10 minutes? Yeah, 10 minutes. We can get the whole class there. Maybe 15 minutes because I also want to pass back all your stuff that I graded for you, and I also have some other things. Hello, Ms. Robertson. But I'd rather want to get to the information because fallacies are important. We think in fallacies a lot, though we might not admit it or think that we do. Here's a little miss. Got your hair down. So I just want to go over quickly in our last class some of the things that, some of the major fallacies, not all of these. There's the traditional outline of fallacies, which you can identify in the book by the Latin. If there's a Latin equivalent, you can pretty much assume that it's old. It's old. Okay, because it's the Latin translated into English and not vice versa, you know what I'm saying? People writing in Latin about fallacies gave them names. But since the old days, since olden times, people have developed other fallacies. Not all of the fallacies that Kelly lists here, I think, are necessarily really fallacies. Hello, sir. Some of the things are more modern opinions of stuff that people don't like authority, although there is an appeal to authority. So if you have your textbook, I didn't scan this out, so I'm just using the textbook. Hopefully you read this chapter, looked at it. Could have been shorter than it was. But anyways, if you open page 135 in your textbook, or if you don't have your textbook with you, you can write this down in your notes so you can go back to your textbook. Page 135. I'm giving you the exact page number, 135. 135. 135. Can I get a witness, Ms. Basora? No witness? No witness? 135. Hallelujah. 135. You're not going to take any notes?
Yeah, I'm getting to it.
You're getting to it.
What chapter is this?
Final exam's going to be like 120 questions.
Oh, God.
Actually, it's 180 questions. 100. Did I say that?
That's crazy shit.
Ladies are present, Mr. Kaiser, including me, including Jesus, Mr. Kaiser. Da-da-da-da. Okay, if you're on page 135, I would suggest circling and focus, because this is what I'm going to focus on today, the appeal to emotion. The appeal to emotion. Argumentum ad populum. You don't know how to spell appeal to emotion?
No.
Argumentum ad populum.
How do you spell the second part? You just I heard argumentum.
Ms. Ferguson, God bless you. Please turn to page 135. Oh man, I don't know what it is with the people and the chalk in this place. Because you've seen me take out chalk, my own chalk, and put it here. And then someone just usually puts stubs. I don't get it. Don't get it. So do I want to get more chalk out? Not really. But if I don't. Hello, ladies. Didn't you just work up in that office?
Sorry?
You're over in that office, right?
Yeah. Why?
It's nothing. It's, interesting. Interesting. Okay, the appeal to emotion, the argumentum ad populum. Then I would suggest circling the one beneath it, which is what? What's beneath the argumentum ad populum on page 135 of the textbook? Appeal to force? No. Appeal to what?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Appeal to force? That's what it is? Without even a textbook, you know, sir. You've got to memorize. Thank you, miss. Argumentum ad baculam. I'm not going to write it down. Ad baculam, or baculum, excuse me. Appeal to force. What's the next one? What's after that? Appeal to authority, veracundiam. Veracundiam. I'm assuming they wash these boards every day. That's an assumption. Veracundiam. Whoops. You might notice something about these phrases. The word ad, in notebooks closed. Notebooks closed. I'm looking right at you. Your notebook's closed. You're not doing anything. You might have noticed that there is something that these endings or these words share as an ending. Do you notice anything?
The letter M.
Thank you, sir. The letter M. Because that indicates the accusative, the object case in Latin. I give you a gift. A gift is the object. I'm the subject. I, the doer word, the action word is the verb. Give. A gift. A gift, that's the object. That's what I'm doing something to. And to you. What is to you? What is to you? It's not an object, necessarily. It is kind of an object, because I'm doing something to you. What is it? A verb? No. Nope. There's no action to you. What's the action? What's the action? You know? What I'm doing is giving. How can it be the subject? Subject is I. I give. I give something to you. I give a gift to you. I give you a gift. What is you? Or to you? It's in the same case.
Me.
Sorry?
Me.
Me? Me what?
Me. Like me.
Me. Is there any me in that sentence?
You.
What case?
That came out wrong. I don't know how to say it. You're probably right.
No, not even close, Mr. Kaiser, but I do appreciate you trying. Huh? There's a pronoun. You know, pronouns. We have personal pronouns. We have relative pronouns. There is a pronoun involved. Again, she's off and running. The indirect object. Indirect object, also known as the dative case. Someone outside here? I hear, oh, yeah, they're doing something, they're packing up stuff. So the indicator in Latin that you are dealing with the objective case is the M at the end. Hello, Ms. Edwards. How do I know this, or why would I assume this? Because the preposition ad takes the objective case, the accusative case in Latin, and also in English, speaking of pronouns. That's why I don't say he gave, Mr. Kaiser gave an answer to I. No. You say, Mr. Kaiser gave an answer to me. The first person singular changes case. It changes to the accusative, just like in Latin. That's why whenever I hear people say, between you and I cringe. It's just ignorance. They don't know their cases. Between you and me. Between is a preposition. Even in English, prepositions take cases. Just like in Latin. So there's nothing to be fearful about. Okay, veracundiam. Let's see, what's the next Latin here? Oh, the ad hominem, that's a good one. Ad hominem. And no, it does not mean that you're making nasty statements about gay people. Yeah, oh, but don't bump. The word homo, hominis in Latin means a human person. Homo, hominis. Mr. Kaiser, what is hominis? What form is hominis? What form is it, sir? When I give you Latin and some of these ancient languages, you need to know this form because the word will change. It'll show you what its regular form is. I guess I'll put this over here. Argumentum post hoc. Ergo propter. Up there, there. Okay, Mr. Kaiser, which case is it? We also have this case in English.
What exactly are those?
Ratio elenchi. Interesting. Sorry?
What exactly are these?
Are fallacies?
Fallacies?
Fallacies.
And how do they connect to these, right?
How do they connect to what?
These.
They're all fallacies.
So which category do they go in?
Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I'm selecting the fallacies that I want to focus on. Beginning with the traditional fallacies, which you can identify because they have Latin names, And I might throw in some of the more modern fallacies, but the one I'm throwing out to you. Argumentum elenchi.
And it's going to be on the test?
Are we discussing it in class? We are. Anyone who wants 5 points, can look up, oh, I'm sorry, argumentum, stupid me. Argumentum ignoratio elenchi, should say. No, put it over here. Ignoratio. For 5 extra credit points, if someone looks that up for me and brings it up to me, I'm not going to come to you. Find it, maybe on your cell phone or something. Yes, sir, it is.
What's the difference between the two?
No difference. The same word.
So why is it?
We haven't gotten there yet, sir. Just copy. 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 Oh, all right. And argumentum ad ignoratium, but I want ignoratio elenchi.
Gross it out.
Can only one person get extra credit? Or?
Wait, can we look on the philosophy website or not?
Just as long as you got the right answer, that's all I care about. Interesting.
No?
This is good.
So we're on Wikipedia, right?
No, I didn't do a computer because it doesn't be, we can't use that in college usually.
You'd be surprised how many professors can use one of these.
Oh, I use
Well, at
Wikipedia all the time.
Bloomfield, I couldn't use that, so I
But
didn't use Wikipedia.
the
They said it
thing,
wasn't real.
well, Wikipedia is dangerous for you because you don't have enough knowledge yet, maybe to use it correctly.
Yeah, they told me.
Well,
To the other school.
you have to be careful because remember it is something that's being edited by other people, and they can very frequently insert their own opinions into stuff, and you don't necessarily know like what might be an opinion and what might be the truth or what might be factual. But I use it all the time. I mean, it's gotten to in the early days, yes, it was very dicey, but now there are so many people involved, and so many of them are scholars in their own field, and they take over the pages, you know. Ever notice that? Like, sometimes I've tried to change a page, and almost immediately it reverts back, you know, because even when my change is correct, and I know it's correct, but there's like some Gestapo person who has taken over the page, and they're the editor, and they'll decide, you know. So anyways, but a lot of these pages are actually quite good and accurate, to a point. Sometimes the information can be out of date, but a lot of times the links are extremely helpful. We can link you to texts and original sources and finding things. So I would be afraid of it, but just as I said, with anything on the internet, you have to be careful. Books are better. Books are better. Why? Because books are vetted. A person writes a book, gives it to a company, they have fact checkers, and the person has to read the book and go through and say, this is not clear, I can't find this source, stuff like that. They should have fact checkers. Usually they do, especially if it's scholarly work. They're going to, the scholarly work, they're going to do that. But Wikipedia, they don't. You have to kind of rely on the veracity of people. And so many times I find stuff on the internet, great quotes. They're like, oh, I'd love to use that. And then but I do my research. I try to track it down and see if the person actually said, you know, Albert Einstein said school sucks, you know. Don't go to school. You can be a genius without school. You don't need to hide it, woman. Just take it out. It's all right. And then I find out that the quote is wrong or misattributed. And okay, your thing went blank on me here.
Oh, you won't be able to pull it.
Okay, so ignoratio elenchi. Good. Just trying to think of which fallacies this fits into. Proving a conclusion that's not pertinent. Yes, a non sequitur. All right, slightly narrower than a non sequitur. That's another fallacy that I don't think he even includes the non sequitur. Interesting. Excellent. 5 points, Miss. Thank you. Write this on a piece of paper so I don't forget. somewhere. Can I borrow a piece of paper?
You can borrow a piece of paper for $5.20.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Plus 5, Kaiser,
Oh, I like that.
minus
What?
2.
So, like,
What? I'm not taking points off. I don't take points off. I want you to pass so I never have to see you again. Because if you fail, then you might take me again if they hire me, and I have to suffer again.
He didn't take you. It was TBA. And we got stuck with you.
Why did you get stuck? What does that mean? How do you get stuck with me?
you can't pay the procedure.
Well, that means then what? You waited till the last moment.
No. They just said it was the
I
time.
was the only one that was available.
At
Well,
the
why
time.
didn't you? At the time. You're worried about time.
Yeah, well,
They had no other court sections
no,
for this
not for
time?
this time.
Okay.
For philosophy.
Were you worried about time, or did you just do it late?
I'm pretty sure this is the only one that was offered.
That's right. We got stuck with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Oh, non sequitur. Yeah, maybe he doesn't call it non sequitur, but I don't think that'll be a fallacy of logic. But he should have that. That's a pretty gaping hole if he didn't put that in there. Where did I put my chalk? Oh, there it is. The argument of the non sequitur.
I thought they were supposed to end with No? Okay.
Argumentum ad ignorantiam. Yes, argumentum ad ignorantiam. Which is not the ignoratio elenchi. That's something different.
Hold on. Equal to a fallacy?
Yes. And not the argumentum, the non sequitur argument, and then there's ad, the argumentum from ignorance. Ad ignorantiam. Notice the M, Mr. Kaiser.
Is that an A at the first letter?
It is, sir.
Or an I?
It is, sir. Something. It's an I, sir. Woman, take notes. Take notes.
I am.
Go ahead. Don't analyze the test now. Okay, let's quickly go over them. Okay. What is a fallacy? How does Kelly describe it? He says basically, I'm summarizing from the textbook, that a fallacy is something where the premises are basically not true. There's no proof for the premise.
Yep.
Okay?
Little or no support.
Yeah, little or no support. Okay? So, and there are a variety of ways, and we do this all the time. I do this, and I find this in my writing. I find this in other scholars' writing. Because, we tend not to think logically. At least that's been my experience. Look at nice nails in that word. I like it. It's blue with little sparkles on it or something.
No, that's cinnamon from my donut.
She won't give an inch.
But since you're talking to me,
I'm always talking to you, but when did I stop talking to you? Just hold on, please. Hold on.
I thought you was going over. I didn't know that.
I'm not going over the test now. Hold on. So a fallacy is something where the premises that are given are false or can't really be proven. You're assuming them to be true. It was fallacious for me to assume that the moon is made out of cheese. Going way back to an example I gave. Why? I don't know, just because it's a funny example, and maybe you haven't heard that expression before, that the moon is made out, or people believe the moon. People really didn't believe the moon was made out of cheese. It's just a funny expression. Really, if someone says, well, they make some arguments, just dismiss their argument, and say, well, yeah, and the moon's made out of cheese, you know what I'm saying? So someone trying to think of some argument like, well, I think, I think I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. I think he's got some good ideas. And someone says, yeah, well, the moon's made out of cheese. It's like, yeah, it's just because, it's just a comeback. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I think the moon is made out of cheese. I really do think the moon is made out of cheese because it's white, and a lot of cheese has a white texture to it. Looks pockmarked, and like Swiss cheese and certain cheeses with fungus on them look what? I'm making my argument, Ms. Alger, and don't just dismiss me out of hand. It's in a vacuum of space, and a lot of cheese comes vacuum packed. Vacuum packed. That's a fallacy. That's an obvious fallacy. What's a fallacy? Because something is vacuum packed, that it's just like cheese. It's cheese in the vacuum of space. I'm equating really apples and oranges. Oh shit! My bad. Would you please don't swear in front of the lady and in front of Jesus. Sorry. Oh man. So my premise is, my argument is whatever my argument is. An argument, I guess you could not say, is fallacious in and of itself. It has to be proven to be fallacious. Wrong. Fallacious. Fallacious, from the word fallacy. The word fallacy. Someone wants to tell me for, maybe 5 points, a little too generous, but another 5 points, if you want to find out what the word fallacious is a root in Latin. For fallacy, it's root in Latin, and what it means? Fallacious. From fallacy. Fallacious does not mean wrong, necessarily. I'm over here. That's what Google says. Oh, you got to work. You got to work.
Deep breath.
Oh, you got something? Oh, thank you. Fallacious. Well, I don't see anything about Latin here. No, that's an English word, fallacious. I don't see anything about etymology. I'm not going in there. That's your job. All right, come back to me when you're ready. Other people, no one's going to compete with her? You don't want to compete? What do we got, Nelson? What it is. What do we got? Fallacious. Okay, Latin, fallacia. Fallacia. Okay, from Latin fallaciosus, from fallacia. Okay. Well, you're still on, Algerin. If you want to, I asked for fallacy. She gave me fallacious. We need the root, fallacy. She hasn't given me fallacy yet.
It's okay. No, you got points. You want to know the word for fallacy?
I'm giving 5 points.
He said he wants to know
There's a lot of points. That could be the difference between a 71, which is what, a C minus?
Yes.
And a 76, which is a C. That's not bad.
I don't know. He wants to know what it is, right?
See, that's why we need drapes. For what? Because you can't control yourself.
I'm confused. You don't know what fallacies are? Or you
No, I want what's the Latin root. We're still on. We're still on. Musical chairs. Catch Mr. Dunn. Catch Mr. Dunn. People are so good with your phones. Yeah. Let's see. Not sure about this one. Yeah, from over there. Salmonte fallacia, a trick, a deceit. Good.
I just said that out loud.
I'm over here, sir.
Oh.
And you didn't show it to me. Thank you, miss. 5 points. Salmonte. Okay, but how many should I take off for your blasphemy?
For a what?
No, I'm sorry, Swabby. We got it. We got it.
All right.
What was it again? Trick, deceit? From the word fallacy.
Deceit.
Trick, deceit.
How do you say it in Latin?
Fallacia. Fallacia. You say it like Italian. Actually, in classical Latin, it was probably pronounced fallacia. But now scholars will say fallacia.
Did you write it down?
I did. It's on the board.
No, my fast point.
Well, 2 points.
What do you mean 2 points? You said 5.
You use the Lord's name in vain.
You said you don't take off 40.
All right, 5 points, yes. Except for Kaiser. Anyways, no, Mr. Guy, don't worry, I'm just joking with you. Okay, fallacious. So, trick or deceit, but you're not trying to trick people. And as I was saying, your premises may be wrong, and your argument may be fallacious, tricky, maybe deceitful. Maybe you are trying to deceive people. That's the root of the word, but that doesn't mean that necessarily you're trying to deceive people. You might actually believe the premises that you're stating and think that they're valid. But the argument isn't necessarily fallacious itself, because some of your premises could be true, but some could be false, or you could be repeating premises that you think are true. You don't know they're fallacious until someone points it out to you. Like, let's say an argument from authority, like I've mentioned Einstein, Albert Einstein said, going to school sucks. Therefore, I'm not going back to school. I can do stuff on my own. I'll be like that guy who started Wendy's. He never went to college, and I'll become a millionaire or billionaire or whatever. Yeah, I'll start a computer business out of my garage and become a billionaire or something. Well, what if I could just, show to you that your argument is fallacious, that Albert Einstein did not actually say that? Okay, you might have believed that it was true. What are you doing? Are you texting like the administration over me? Okay, so fallacies, that's what we're talking about, where the premises themselves are false or have little support. Okay? Now, how do we identify our fallacies? Okay, part of my job as an academic, when I'm like writing articles and stuff, and I find it one of the fun things. It's something it's a skill I have, is identifying fallacies in people's thought. And you do this by arguing. You do this by talking, debating. Okay? I'm just going to go simply through each of these traditional fallacies that Kelly outlines. Know the definitions, because, the definitions might appear in the final exam.
Definitions of all of this?
Yeah.
So what's that
Sequitur, I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
What's the matter, Ms. Aldrin?
No.
What's the matter?
It's cold.
Non sequitur, missing the point?
They got all of them.
Let me show this.
Can our final just be this? Like a quiz, or is that
non
definition?
sequitur is missing the point. No, ignorantio elenchi is missing the point.
Okay. I'm not that blind. Confirming. That's how you spell it?
Mm-hmm. Are you woman? Let's see here. Are you willing to admit that you were wrong? Missing the point is ignoratio elenchi, not non sequitur.
It's saying right here.
I'll leave it alone. Yeah, I know it's cold, but, what are you going to do? So, an argumentum ad populum to the people, when you want to rouse the people. Donald Trump seems to be great at that, and no, this is not Mr. Liberal done, liberal academia, but so don't, take me and send something off the clock stick from that. You don't know my political opinions. I'm just using it as an example. Just because I believe it's true. As an orator, as a speaker, I think he's really great at stirring up the crowd. He appeals to people's emotion. What's his motto, his slogan? Making America great again. stirs up some emotion, especially if you're, kind of unsure about America's place in the world. You want to be proud to be an American again. Although, I thought there was a great line from Hillary Clinton, not that I'm her supporter either, not that you need to know, but she had a great response to that, which I thought it was just a great response, as a rhetorical response was, America never stopped being great. Which I think is like a real, I wish they were in a debate in that, because I think that would be like a train, hitting a mountain. Let's make America great. When did America stop being great, Donald? I'd just like to see what his response is, because that's, in debating society, I think that's a pretty good response. But anyway, so you're appealing to the emotions, okay? You want to stir people up. You're not appealing to reason. You're appealing to, what if gay people get married? If gay people get married, dogs will start marrying cats, Well, God will punish us. God will send us hurricanes to destroy us, or volcanoes, and all sorts of stuff. God will hurt us, Emotion, you're appealing to people's religious emotion, visceral emotion, their visceral dislike maybe of a certain group of people, Look at those people standing out there, the day laborers, Look at them standing there, look at them, Look at how they look. There's an appeal there to bigotry, to a person's just visceral reaction to a certain group of people. Like they, could just be, you don't know what they're standing out there for, what work they're doing. What if they're a bunch of businessmen, suits and ties, their briefcases, waiting for the bus? Because they're a bunch of guys with baseball caps, maybe dirty jeans or something like that, and of a certain color or ethnicity. They must be up to no good. They're bringing the country down. Argument to emotion. Yes, that's also an argument to emotion. They say, hey, dude, I just want a job. I'm here and I'm looking for work. I got a family. I got mouths to feed. I got children. I got to work. That's an appeal ad populum to the person, not necessarily to logic, but to the emotion of the other person. Baculum, an appeal to force. An appeal to force. Do this or I'll hurt you.
It's cold.
It is cold, but you know what? We're adults and we can handle it. I remember watching, maybe I can show it to you.
How many questions on the test? 130?
Oh, I don't know, several hundred.
180.
Is he learning new stuff?
I know, I really didn't teach that much, but,
What?
Well, no, some people are like, well, what did you teach us? Because my notes have nothing. Now, this might give you flashbacks, Bobby. But these are the Marines, not the Navy. The Navy was a lot nicer. Stop touching your face. Your hands behind my back, answer. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Let's go. This is okay, the uniform code. Still the proper sub again. Okay, kind of see it. Not get better. Do you understand? Get up and shoot for on me now. Yes, sir. see it's grainy and it's not great, but, you know, their code and what you're supposed to be and all this other stuff, all right? Why are they going to do any of this? Why are they doing any of this? Brainwashing. They can leave it and watch where they can't. They signed a contract, haven't they?
My cousin was in the Marine.
He was brainwashed? Where you start loving America and
I don't know.
singing
She
patriotic
acted for it, and my sister-in-law is from the Army, and she was...
Okay then.
I'm serious.
Okay
They
then.
acted really different.
So that's an argument. That's an argument. Does it follow that because your sister-in-law was in the Army that she's now a bitch?
Oh,
That's the argument you just made.
No, seriously, like...
First of all, define bitch.
not in front of Jesus.
What do you mean? Because a bitch could be a female dog.
Okay, he has issues.
What do you mean? You're
Okay, she
negative.
comes from Maryland, right? They live in Maryland.
What does that have to do with anything?
No, I'm telling you the story.
No, but Maryland is inconsequential. It doesn't have to do
Okay,
with
so she
anything.
came to my house for Christmas, and this lady goes crazy because my brother wants to hang out with my other brother, and she's not invited. Like, who does that? There's issues. She has issues.
Okay, so
She has like a jealousy.
So you mean
I don't know if
bitch
she got
in a
that.
negative
In a
way?
negative way, yeah.
What was bitchy about it?
That she made a big deal about it, and my brother
She was angry
after
about
she
something.
said yes.
She was angry about
That's
something.
issues. You don't change your mind just because you're not getting attention.
She's not allowed to change her mind?
Not over that. I'm sorry.
Not, okay then, who decides? Who decides over what she can change her mind and not change her mind?
It's just the right thing to do, though.
No, who says that?
I say that.
Ah, an appeal to authority. An argumentum
Why would you get mad if your boyfriend goes to hang out with his sister?
Okay, you're the veracundia. What's your authority? What authority do you have over state that? What's the basis of your authority? Why should I believe you over her? If I talk to her, she may call you the B word.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've
But I've
asked
never
two
acted like that
people.
towards her.
Okay, but
Or acted any
you might do
specific way
something
when she
else that
was
she considers, according to her authority, wrong.
No, I'm
Like
sorry.
the way you wear your hair.
If
You
you
change
knew
your hair
her,
like every
you
day.
would understand.
So if your authority isn't valid, is your argument valid?
If your sole basis is simply, I'm telling you so. Like, the moon is made of cheese. How do we know this? I tell you. I am the teacher, you're the student, you don't question me. Well, that's fallacious.
So
Because,
what if you were a person from NASA? Would that change the subject? Because you're...
yes. Okay, yes, you have to evaluate the authority. Yeah, unless I'm telling you this, but let's say someone from NASA, someone who's an astronaut, who's been up to the moon, and say, I've been up there, and it's not made of cheese. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just funny, like, I'm sure. It's just funny. Weird.
I see no God up here. Funny. Yeah. That's an old moldy, the cosmonauts did that.
But did you see what he
When
said
the
about him?
Russians, what? No, I
You
didn't.
didn't read the whole thing?
No, I didn't.
You're supposed to read the whole
You
thing.
will when your oxygen tank runs out. Well, maybe you will, but yeah. But yeah, that's just a reminder of the cosmonauts, which is the word for the Russian astronauts when the Russians first sent someone up into space for us, by the way. They made a big deal out of asking the cosmonauts, do you see God up there? Do you see a heaven? No. Anyway, so you will when your oxygen tank. Does that necessarily follow that he'll see God? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, so you've made some arguments there, and I think I've pointed out some fallacies to your arguments, which you could consider. But with the Marines, notice their demeanor is threatening. They yell at you. They're screaming at you. These are the nice days. If you in the old days, from what I've heard, it could get more physical. But, these are the rules. They're showing you this is what a Marine is, what you do. You don't do it, we will hurt you. We will cause you psychological, sometimes physical pain, usually inconveniencing you, making you, clean out the bathroom or something or whatever. So that's an argument. Why should I follow these rules? Because I said so, and I'm the drill sergeant. And your response is simple. Notice the response is not to argue or reason with this person. That's not, what happened?
You're going to follow it up, row by row, squad by squad, in my contraband room. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Contraband room, you'll cover down behind a red bin. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So cover down behind a red bin, you'll stand in a position of attention with your arms crossed, and your head and elbows will be on my neck. Do you understand?
Why?
He said your head and eyes will be
Why? Why does it have to be a red bin, drill sergeant? Why can't it just be, why can't it just be, I don't know, a green bin? Why can't I look to the right if I want? Well, it's brainwashing. Yeah, there has to be an element of brainwashing because it's discipline. It's discipline. If you're, they want you to have like muscle memory, but in your brain muscle. So when you're told an order by a superior, you know to follow it without questioning. Okay? Because, when you're in a battle situation, which I've never been in, but maybe some of you have been. Mr. Reeves isn't here, but I think whatever. You can't sit around in a circle and say, who has the conch, or who has the stick, like Lord of the Flies. Remember that book? I don't know if anyone ever read that in high school. Yeah, where they all eventually beat up each other, kill each other, turn into savages. Who has the stick? Well, I have the stick. Well, now Johnny has the stick. Well, now Amy has the stick. So then we all go with those opinions. You'll all die. There has to be someone who says, okay, whether you like it or not, we're going to make a full frontal assault. Let's go. Otherwise, if we're all just running around like a bunch of lemmings, they can just pick us all off and kill us all, and nothing's accomplished. So there is some reason to it, but they're not going to explain it to you. You're either on board or you're not. And I can understand that. I mean, I can understand that, why people do that, but that's why I'm not in the military. Not that I'm a questioner. I would go along with it, but I don't want to really die or kill people. I'm also very fat. And, I would never make it through. There's just it's not even worth trying, I should take it 10 minutes later. Okay, so, Verkundium, baculum, violence. Okay? Power. Okay, you do this because we'll come after you. We will harm you. Verkundium is authority. We've already gone over that. It's a fallacy based on the authority. But an NASA person could still be wrong, Ms. Montez. It could still be wrong. I mean, who knows? The cheese could be under all the moon dust, and they haven't dug far enough.
Do you like Asian?
Where are you going with the argument about the cheese and the moon because Michael Vasily can't live like that? Where are you continuing with the cheese and the moon?
Is that in your fantasy? So cheese to the moon?
I really just thought I was on board. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, let's say there is no God.
Okay.
Or there is a God. And a person from NASA could say, well, I've been up into space and I've seen no evidence for a God. There's no presence there. I don't see any heavenly lights or angels flying around or whatever, as with your picture, or as with Soviet cosmonauts, because it was an atheistic state. I mean, it was an officially atheistic state. You were not allowed to believe in God. They still allow people to go to church, but
You're not allowed to believe in God?
No, you could not believe in God.
Astronauts?
No, in the former Soviet Union,
No.
you were not. No, and you were spied on to make sure you didn't. So, I know this from firsthand from people I know that came from Poland, the Ukraine, who lived under this, because it only ended like in the early 90s. So their parents and some of them were still children, and remembered that their teachers at their school were required every Sunday to stand in front of the local church to see who was going in, who would go in to the worship service. But, as this woman told me, she's married to a priest. Yes, there are married Catholic priests, by the way, in the Eastern churches at least. She told me the teachers in the schools were believers. They all believed, they were all Christians, but they didn't tell anybody that. So what they did is they performed their duty. They'd stand, but they would look straight down at the ground, so they couldn't see who was going in or who wasn't. I had a friend who's not a priest, who was in the seminary. I was in the seminary a couple of years. He was from Cuba. He told me the story of one of his relatives who wanted to get into medical school in the University of Havana, and they asked you outright, because again, Cuba is an atheistic communist state, or at least it was, asked you outright, do you believe in God? And if you answered the wrong way, you weren't going to a medical school in Havana. So he said, of course I don't believe in God. Not really. But that's the game you had to play, you know. So no God, because I go up there and I'm asking, okay, that's an authority. I could impeach that authority and say, well, that's depends. Is God physical? Is that how the universe is? Does anyone say that heaven is above the sky? It's an actual place above the clouds? Yes, use that word.
Don't they say that, like...
They... Who?
Don't they say that, like...
They... Who?
Can I finish first?
No.
That,
define your term.
I have no idea. I'm just making a general statement.
Okay.
Don't they say that if you reject God's name in front of, like, that's the worst sin or something like that?
Okay.
Isn't that, like, the worst sin? So if the guy was to, if someone was holding like a gun to your head and they asked you, do you believe in God? And if you do, they will kill you. Would you say no?
Who's they? I'm still stuck on they.
I think it'd be a sin if you're saying it, but if you really believe it, like internally, then
I thought, because I read somewhere that it's like, if you ever reject God's,
deny.
deny your faith or something like that, that's like the worst sin because you're,
No, I got what you're saying here.
This is class. Thank you, Ms. Algren. I appreciate
so if,
the assist.
she's actually answering my question, that's why.
I'm just saying, like, that's just my own opinion.
I'm not answering your question because your question is poorly formed.
I got the answer.
Okay. Whatever answer that is, there are a number of answers that could be given to that, but without knowing who they is, how can anyone respond to that just from their own experience?
I've heard people from church say something.
Which church?
Not here, not in the country.
What type of church?
Not even in this country, but which church where?
In Colombia.
Catholic Church, Pentecostal, Lutheran? Are we talking about Islam? Are we talking about Judaism? Are we talking about what? Who's they?
Pentecostal. For me, I don't know.
Pentecostal? I don't set their authority. So what they think happens doesn't matter to me. I'm interested in what they think about it, but there's no authority to me. But she's the one who says they, so I still haven't gotten to who the they is. That matters in constructing an argument. You just can't start out
I didn't
like that.
plan on constructing an argument. I asked the question. Like, that wasn't on,
Well, you want an answer.
not an argument.
Monty Python. Monty Python, remember? But to find the answer, you might want to construct an argument.
I'm good.
You're good. You just want an answer. Okay. If I just said, okay, if you reject God, then you're going to hell. There's your answer. I've already seen you there, though. Now take that to the department. I'm recording this. She just wanted an answer. Okay, I'll give you an answer.
Or just like, I said something you didn't take into consideration.
But you weren't even asking the question.
But still. Like,
You were totally out of the mix. She was addressing
it doesn't
me.
matter. I feel like,
Doesn't matter.
You're doing too What?
Like, I didn't even answer my question.
I did answer your question.
I didn't say that too many times.
If you reject God intentionally, you'll go to hell. Period. What do you want me to say?
Okay, we're going to review time.
No,
Yeah, you got 15 minutes, it's 12:25.
it's not 15 minutes.
Yes, it is.
Would you like to see the time?
Ad hominem. Ad hominem. I got you. Ad hominem is an attack against a person. You're not attacking the argument, you're attacking the person. Like me. It's not that you're not dealing with the argument at all. You're saying, okay, a person makes an argument, well, he's a jerk. No, whatever. Or who would listen to him? He's from Sparta. See, Sparta. I'm learning, you know? Or what does a man know about women's issues? Or vice versa. You know, it might be true. A man might be very uninformed about women's issues. Or a person might have a bad temperament or be a bad person. But nevertheless, that doesn't make the premise any more fallacious, that you're attacking the person and not attacking the ideas that the person is bringing. People make this, I think, with Donald Trump all the time about his hair. Okay, it's clearly a comb over. Or at least it's a very weird hairstyle. I don't know. It's like a new wave hairstyle from the 80s. But, you know, it just doesn't look like natural hair to me, you know? It looks like, you know, he's got his long hair that he's combed over his head. Okay, that's fine if he wants to do that. But, you know, you'll hear people say, dismiss his arguments by saying, well, you know, that's the guy with the comb over, right? You know, the bald guy who's trying to hide it, you know. Well, so what? Well, maybe he is trying. He's, you know, sensitive about his baldness. I'm not. Thanks, Dad. But, you know, you deal with the cards you're dealt. Some people, it bothers them. Okay. But I'm still not dealing with his arguments. I'm dismissing them, any argument he might make, just based on what kind of human being I'm presenting him as. Post hoc ergo propter hoc is Latin for, and I wish Mr. Clark were here because he would know, but he's not, so what are you going to do? It means after this. What's going on?
After this.
What's going on, Mr. Shedd?
After this, I just showed her a verse from the Bible.
God bless you, Mr. Shedd. That's better authority than me.
After this.
After this, therefore, on account of this. After this, you may flunk out of Felician University.
Wait, after there was what?
Therefore.
Because of this, on account of this. God forbid. See, as I'm saying, God forbid anyone should flunk out. But if you do, I know, as I told you before, it's based on your GPA, not one course, because sometimes we get emails from people saying, Mr. Dunn, I'm losing my athletic scholarship, or I'm losing my academic scholarship. You know, and sometimes the person will lay a guilt trip on me, like I'm the one impeding or keeping them from, you know, having the scholarship because they failed the course or got a C or something or low grade. But I know how the system works. It's your GPA. So that means that the person stunk it up in at least 2 or 3 other courses to get to this point. And they want me, because I'm the religion teacher, since I'm supposed to be, you know, the nice Jesus freak, you know, and no. No, I'm also an academic. I do have standards. I know I give out too many extra credit points to you people, but I do have standards. I expect something to be met. So no, because it's a fallacy that because something happened after an event or after something, that therefore it was caused by something. Okay? Because there was an effect, this thing had to cause that effect. Not necessarily. Maybe a certain event did cause the effect, But the reason it's a fallacy is assuming that it's 100%, where you're overestimating the relationship. It's a relational thing, Ms. Louisma. Okay? You're assuming that because X happened, therefore Y happened or had to happen. Let's say, for example, because the United States invaded Iraq back, 15 years ago. Wow, that's weird. Therefore, that's why there are all these troubles in the Middle East with ISIL, and Iraq government is very weak and kind of falling apart, and all of Iran is getting a nuclear bomb. Maybe that's what people tell you, but they're certainly, doing stuff nuclearly. You could maybe make an argument for all those things, but not necessarily. It may have all gone to pot or exploded or fallen apart on its own without us. So that's the fallacy of the argument. It doesn't mean necessarily, you might make the argument that our intervention did do this, but not necessarily. A non sequitur is that it doesn't follow. It does not follow because your sister-in-law changed her mind that she's a bee. That's a non sequitur. I'm sorry, it's a non sequitur fallacy. It does not. Now maybe you have more evidence to pile on, and at the end of the day, I'd say you're right, Mrs. Almonte. If I met her, I'd say that's a bee. Well, I try not to. I try to be a good Christian man. All right, but it does not follow just because someone has done something or X or that, therefore they are this. Okay, it's a non sequitur. It does not. What it means, known, does not. You want to know what these things meant, Mr. Clark? But sequitur, follow.
Does not follow?
Yeah, like the word sequence. When you have a sequence of numbers, what's a sequence of numbers? 1, 2, 3, 7. Now the sequence is broken. It's not a sequence anymore. Why? Because 7 doesn't come after. It stops at 3. So anyway, 7 doesn't come after 3. 4 comes after 3.
Can you explain the difference on the thin line between those two?
Well, now that's an assumption. You're assuming there's a thin line between them.
Well, you're saying one is because X happened, therefore Y has to happen, and
Yeah,
then
you're
one
talking.
does not follow.
Post hoc ergo propter hoc is usually talking about events, cause and effect type things that happen. Non sequitur is just in your line of thinking. It's more your line of thinking. Okay? Driving over here today, you had a lot of nuts on the road, or people pulling out in front of me, people doing crazy things. So therefore, the rest of the day is going to be one of those days, and that's a non sequitur. Sometimes it is one of those days. But assuming that the rest of the day is going to be like that, where I'm going to have to keep an eye out while I'm driving with crazy people and stuff like that, that's a non sequitur. It doesn't follow. The rest of the, there's just events that happen, and I'm making the connections. That a person pulled out in front of me and I just slam on my brakes. Or a person was driving down the wrong way on the road and I had to get out of the way, Just because that happened 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, it does not follow that it's going to happen later. Again, I'm making that connection. It's a fallacious connection because they're just happenings. They just happen. They're coincidences. If you believe in that. If you watch an M. Night Shyamalan film, then they're, what was his name? Mel Gibson, signs, then nothing's a coincidence. It's all meant to happen. I'm trying. Appeal to ignorance is to appeal, we encounter this all the time. Appeal to ignorance, the appeal to the lack of knowledge.
Which one is the appeal to ignorance?
Ignorantiam. Oh, I misspelled it. Excuse me. Ignorantiam. Sorry, I missed an N. Ignorantiam. A lack of knowledge. Because Mr. Dunn did not come to class today, I don't know, he must be in the hospital dying. He must be on death's door, you know. Or because Mr. Dunn didn't come to class today, you know, he must be out partying or doing something. And someone challenges you on that. Well, how do you know that? Well, how do you not know that? You know, you get into one of those arguments with people. Say, well, how do you know that? Well, how do you not know that? That's an argumentum ad ignorantiam. It means nothing. You know, you have no, it's fallacious because there's nothing, it's like empty. You know, well, how do you not know? Well, you know, how do you know? You know, you can't have a +2 and a -2 together. You can't have a negative and a positive together. It is this way, it is not this way. Both. At least you shouldn't in your thinking, okay? You have to be able, you know, where's your evidence for that? You know, Mr. Dunn is not here today because he told me he was going to go out partying. And that's an appeal maybe to authority because I'm the authority. That still could be fallacious because I could have told you and changed my mind and not gone out partying, you know? Or I could have just told you anything. Or I could not have told you. You could have been you could be lying. So you have to impeach the authority. Okay? But just the statement of, well, just because you don't know something, my argument has to be true. That's really what the fallacy is. Because you don't know, and I'm telling you it has to be true. I say X, you challenge it and say, well, you don't know that what I'm saying is not true. You're appealing to my ignorance. That's a fallacy. Okay. I was going to show you some other funny stuff, but people are worried about the final, and yes, I do need to hand stuff out. Let me take attendance, see who's here. Algarin, Almonte, Basora, no. Campbell Clark. Yes.
Is it possible to email us the quizzes? Because I don't have all.
I will. The problem was I have them all scanned, and I want to give them to people to study, but I have people who's asking. There are people who haven't done them yet, or hadn't done them yet, so I didn't want to give them the answers before they had turned them in. So, yeah. So, if I don't get them today, then they'll get a 0, so I should send them out so you can look at them. Hannah Johnson, Kaiser, Louisma. Better late than never, Ms. Louisma. Montalvo, I didn't see Ms. Montalvo. Montez is here. Dave Nelson is here. Rashed. Robertson's here. Simcoe Tavares is here. Venechanos, Williams, Mendoza. Okay, the final exam, and I also, before you leave, I have things to hand back to you. I'm not going to tell you information that they already sent out in emails. Information that was sent out, you need to check your emails, okay? Yes, 10:45 on Wednesday, okay? Which is kind of crazy. What's the matter? Which is yes, I know it's kind of crazy with the scheduling. But anyways, I came out, when all was said and done, I came out with about 68, 67 questions just from the quizzes. I'd rather get it up to 180, but then I thought to myself, it's 2 hours. So that's 120 minutes, yes? Isn't that 120 minutes, 2 hours? So I thought that, it really wasn't right to put you under that kind of pressure that you'd have less than a minute on each question. So I thought what I would do is just do 120 questions, cut it down to kind of like the essential stuff. Yeah, I know 120 was a lot of information. It's cumulative. I never hid that fact. It's cumulative. So you should expect 120. Maybe Maybe I might change that and make less, but we'll see. We'll see. You should expect 120. It will cover everything, every major thing, certainly every question that was on the exam, little major quizzes, you should look at, every one of them.
What are the essential things? Because you got a weird mind.
I just told you one thing. Everything that's on the major quizzes, everything. The answers, and I'll send the copies out again. Yes, I'll send you with the questions as well. Everything that was just done on the board should be in your notes. That's I have to ask you about those things. Can't quiz you on them. The quiz is going to have to be the final exam. Hold on, Ms. Edwards, hold on. Of course, the test is 300 points as per the syllabus, so how many questions it works out to, it'll be however many points. Is that Montez? Who is that? Is that Kaiser? I do, it's not open book, however, I will give you 2 index cards, and which you can use to write information on. I would suggest, Ms. Edwards, that what you do is you use the cards to write the information that you're just shaky on. The stuff that you've got, leave it alone. But the stuff that you're not sure about, write it down. So you get 2 of these. You can take them when you come up, and as much information as you, so write small, people. Write small.
Alright.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can we type this stuff on the index card and type it and then
If you can.
Okay,
I mean, you just don't want to screw up the card and then have, scratch stuff out.
I paste it on the card. Like, if I type it and print it out, can I paste it on the card?
Oh, you mean like you're going to do like the little 8 font and the really tiny and the... Okay, yeah. If it's on the card, if it's somehow attached to the card, and it fits on the card, not that you staple it to the card and you've got like a whole bunch of pages. It has to be on the card and fit on both sides of the card, and that's it. Huh? What do you mean? Yeah. I'm not going to make it easy. All right, I have to hand stuff out to people. Thank you.
No problem. You said you're going to send all of these back out with the answer?
Yes.
Okay.
That. Remember, take 2, please, because everyone needs one. Ms. Ferguson, Ms. Edwards. Ms. Edwards, don't leave because I have papers for people. Edwards.
This is out of what?
I don't remember. What is it, 20 points? Points for shed. Just because I gave you something, I might have something else for you. Don't leave until I'm totally done. Valenciano, Montez, Algarin. I might still have something else for you. Mr. Brito's not here, so I don't have to worry about that. Venecianos again. Ferguson again. Algarin again. Louisma. Praise Jesus. Yes, Louisma. Reeves is not here, so Louisma, the test is, I think, 40 points. Dona's not here. Louisma. Reeves is not here. Williams, Mr. Caruth. Mr. Almonte. Mr. Clark, where are you? Look here. Clarky. Tavares, you were here today. There you go. Campbell, again, Campbell, Rashed. What is it? Rashed again. Manette's not here. Let's see, Montalvo's not here. Nafe, nope. Montez, again. Montez, Robertson. The major quizzes are out of 40 points. The extra credit was 10 points. The essay with 20 points. Robertson, yes, some of you stumped it up on the essay. Guadalupe, I tried to be more generous on the extra credit, but Kaiser, let's see here, Nasora, Algarin, what is Algarin? Ah, because I agreed you twice. I might have graded you twice. Take the bet. I think I just gave you back that, didn't I?
No, this is the essay and the you give back the extra credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lorenzano. All right.
Extra credit was out of 20, correct?
10.
I mean the
10
test.
points.
The test was out of
10 points.
The essay was out of 20.
The essay was out of 20.
So, Professor, you're sending us the quizzes today?
Yes. Yes.
That's it. That's all the
Your class and my sociology class have the same midterm.
I have no idea what to do. I told other students that I have to find out from somebody what to do. I don't have any instructions about that. Where to send people if they need to take. Huh? Huh?
It's Wednesday, 10:05 in Lodi.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to do. If I don't know what to do, I can't tell you what to do. It depends on which test you want to take, me or the other person.
That class first. I wrote that class before this one.
Okay, then you got to take me at some other time. Then you have to take me at some other time. I'll have to get back to you. I'm sorry. I don't have any policy. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to. I have no office. I have nothing. Nowhere to send anybody. Huh?
What time is the test over?
For this one, 12:45. Huh?
Each test is 2 hours.
Yeah,
So
but
after I leave them, I could come to you?
you could, but I mean, you deserve 2 hours, and there might be another test coming right in after us. For all I know, I don't know. I mean, you could conceivably come over here. Is this something that you needed to do? Okay, and then we could, go somewhere, and I could do it with you. It's possible, but give me a chance to find out.
You want to email me?
Yeah, I gotta find out. I gotta ask some questions. Here on Wednesday, sir. 10:45.
each question more.
Okay, Ms. Montez, got a question? No questions?
Yeah, do you have my answer ready?
I handed everything back. I had 2 things that I gave to you. What did I give to you?
The test and our essay.
There's no extra credit? I don't, no, I gave out everything. I graded everything. Let's see here.
Well, we don't have it.
Paulo. Do people take their cards? There are 100 cards here, so I mean most of them should be gone. I have 100 cards here. There are, 25 people here. There should be like half the stack gone.
Yeah, I want to make sure I put my cards. Don't be on put them in there. I'm going to take 2 more.
I should have handed them out. I should have handed out. That's my mistake. I should have handed them out.
But to me, the test with the little cards, they'd be worse than the one with the...
So it's this one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's a question to test.
Yeah. Just about everybody.
Can I have 2 more?
You want 2 more?
Yeah, put them for us. I don't know. But I want to make sure I have them. Because I'll go home and then won't be able to still find them.
Okay.
I have too much stuff in my bag.
I don't get it. I guess people didn't feel that they needed them. All right. That's fine.
Front and back, right?
Oh, yeah, front and back. Back.
It's,
Signing off.